Another important figure in the pink film industry was Koji Wakamatsu. His path into filmmaking was anything but conventional. Before entering the film industry, he spent time as a member of Yakuza. By the mid-1960s, however, he had become one of the most influential figures in Japanese independent cinema, eventually earning the title The Pink Godfather. The turning point came with Secrets Behind the Wall, which he directed while still working for Nikatsu. The film was selected for Berlin International Film Festival and received praises from the international audiences. Yet rather than celebrating the achievement, the studio largely downplayed its release. Pink films were still considered disreputable exploitation cinema, and many within the industry were uncomfortable seeing them treated as serious art. Frustrated by these limitations, he left the studio and established his own production company. Unlike many directors working in the genre, he was never interested in making erotic films purely for commercial purposes. His work combined sexuality and extreme violence with political commentary, social criticism, and experimental filmmaking techniques. After leaving Nikatsu in 1965 and founding Wakamatsu Productions, he began producing films on an extraordinarily small budget, often for less than 1 million yen. To compensate for the lack of resources, he embraced natural lighting, guerrilla filmmaking, and longer takes, creating a raw and confrontational style that felt completely different from the polished productions of Japan's major studios. His first independently produced film, The Embryo Hunson's Secret, set almost entirely inside a cramped apartment, the film follows a man who imprisons a woman he has hired for a sales job. What begins as a straightforward captivity narrative gradually evolves into a disturbing psychological battle for dominance, with the confined setting amplifying feelings of paranoia, isolation, and dread. Just 3 films later, Wakamatsu directed what would become his most famous work, Go Go Second Time Virgin, written by Masao Adachi, is set within a desolate urban landscape. The film follows 2 deeply isolated teenagers who formed a troubled bond after a traumatic encounter. As they share their feelings of alienation and despair, the relationship becomes increasingly self-destructive, culminating in one tragic conclusion. Both films push pink cinema far beyond its commercial origins. Rather than focusing on erotic spectacle, he used the genre to explore psychological trauma, social alienation, political frustration, and the emotional disconnection of post-war Japan. Movies can't really be called pink if they are being accepted by the general public. Pink films are about putting it out there in the public spaces and smashing people's mind.